To understand Spring Cloud, let's first understand what is monolithic and the microservices architecture. Let's first start with the monolithic architecture and let's take an example of a hotel system. Let's say that we are building a hotel management app, and as a part of that app, what we have? We have several modules, right? We have the booking service, we have a hotel service, we have a payment service when user books a room, and after that the request is sent to the payment service. And so we also have a notification service and the other services. So if we build this app, right, if we build the hotel management app, the technology stack would, if we use Java, probably would be a Spring Boot. And if we are building that as a single deployable jar, so then in that case, that is a monolithic architecture. It means that all these services is packed into one deployable jar, and we have a single database. So this, if all the services of the app is the part of the one deployable jar, or one deployable unit, if you're using other programming language, then that architecture is called a monolithic architecture. What is the problem with this architecture? The problem is that the first one, right? Let's take one very simple example. Let's say that you made a change in the booking service. There is some bug, or there is some issue, or there is some feature request for the booking service. Then in that case, we need to redeploy the whole app. The hotel service and the payment service also will be affected. Another one is that, let's say that we have a spike in the hotel app, in the hotel service or payment service. Then in that case, what will happen is that then we need to scale the whole app, not just the one single service. We need to scale the whole app. There are also other issues, but these are the mains. I have listed them here, but also another one is it's harder to maintain and the test. But what's the microservice architecture? As the name suggests, we have a microservices, which means that the smaller services. So we are dividing this giant monolithic architecture into the smaller units, right? Into the smaller services. So we have now separate booking service and the hotel service and the payment service, which we are going to build as a part of these tutorials. So in the microservice architecture, one of the advantages is, right, we don't have to use the same language for hotels, for all services. Let's say that we are building a booking service using a Java or Spring Boot, but for the hotel services, let's say it makes sense to build that using the MongoDB, and we can use a different database for it. And the same for the payment service. And we can deploy them separately, so we can scale them separately, and so on. So again, that advantages I have listed here. The advantages is that the independent deployment and scaling, loss coupling, which means that we don't have to maintain the same language. We don't have to maintain the same database for all of these services, right? We can develop them and maintain them separately. So this is the difference between the microservices and the monolithic architecture. Now let's go to let's one more time list here the benefits of the splitting hotel system. So each service can use its optimal database. It's a faster deployment and deployment per module, and the clear separation of responsibilities, and so on. So these are the responsibilities if we are moving from the monolithic architecture to the microservices. Now let's slowly go to understanding of what is how Spring Cloud comes into the picture in terms of the monolithic and the microservice architecture. Spring Boot, basically, if we summarize it in one sentence, Spring Boot is a set of tools and the frameworks for building distributed system and microservices architecture on top of the Spring Boot ecosystem. It's actually not a separate framework. It's a tools, and probably the right word would be here, libraries, tools and libraries for building on top of the Spring Boot in order to build the microservices. So what are those, right? If we are building microservices, we need to have we are going to talk about each of these in details later, but we need to have a service discovery. So what it means is, let's say we have 15 microservices. How we are going to find that what is the IP address and the port of that microservice. So for that we are using service discovery. Or let's say we have several instances of our microservice. We need to load balance that, right? So we have a load balancing. So we need to have a centralized config system. So we need to have some features of the microservices. Again, we are going to talk about that a bit later. And for that, initially Netflix OS, which stands for the open source software, they built their own solution. So for example, for service discovery, they built the Eureka, for the load balancing Ribbon, and so on. So some of these are already replaced by the newer version of the implementations, and it's backed by the Spring Cloud. But initially, all these solutions were built by Netflix OS. Again, Spring Cloud is just the tools and the libraries in order to build the microservices. Let's put it this way. So here again, I've listed that the Spring Boot, what it simplifies, right? It simplifies microservices operations. For the load balancing, for the fault tolerance, we are using Resilience 4J for the config management and for the tracing of logs. So, speaking of the replacement, right? So we have a replacement of the Netflix OS it's mainly replaced by the Spring Cloud alternatives. For example, Ribbon is replaced by the Spring Cloud Load Balancer, Hysterix is by the Resilience 4J, and the only one that is used now from the initial Netflix OS tech stack is the Eureka. It's still in use, and for the Feign, we are using OpenFeign client.